I need intuitive healer Leo to come and sit on my couch. Let's talk about what it's like to have zodiac sign Leo in the 12th house in astrology. Before we combine the two, let's first break it up. Leo, as you know, is the brightest star out of all the zodiac signs because Leo is ruled by the sun. This is why Leo attracts a lot of attention to themselves even when they don't want any, because their energy is potent. Leo is energetic. They love the sunlight. They love being positive. They have loads of energy. And more importantly, they're very vibrant and vivacious when it comes to their perspective towards life. They want the very best for themselves, and they're not afraid to step into the limelight to get what they deserve. Leo's playful. Leo's dramatic. Leo thinks of themselves as a celebrity. Even if Leo is not a celebrity, that is the energy that Leo brings to themselves. That's the energy they bring to the world. Because to Leo, how they see themselves is really the most important thing. Leo is represented by the Strength card in tarot. So Leo is definitely very bold and driven when it comes to going after the things that they want. Now let's talk about the ruler of Leo, which is the sun. The sun is about our will. It's about our drive, our determination. It's about pride. It's about honor. It's about our health. It's about our vitality. It's about wanting to be the best and wanting the acknowledgement and the recognition from others for being the best. Leo is all ego. Leo is all about the self and all about their own prowess. Remember, we're talking about the lion here. So yes, Leo loves to roar, and that is what they're here to do. In their high vibrational state, Leo is commanding. They are powerful, they are ambitious, and they get recognized for their efforts because nobody does it quite like them. Everything they touch has a little bit of pizzazz and dazzle and magic that drips all over it because, again, they are ruled by the sun. Now, let's move on to the second part of the question here, which is the 12th house. The 12th house in astrology rules our spiritual world, our subconscious mind. Those of us that are into spiritual astrology, the 12th house is really the culmination of all of the karmic energy that you have accumulated from previous lives. So if you want to see the energy that you've carried in your previous lives, you go to your 12th house. And I always tell everyone, if you're trying to get started on your spiritual journey, the 12th house is a wonderful place to start, followed by your North Node. When you put Leo in the 12th house, which is a hidden house, remember, because it's about the subconscious mind, the 12th house is normally ruled by Pisces, and Pisces, as you know, is an introverted zodiac sign. Pisces is all about what is experienced inward as opposed to Leo, who's all outward. So when Leo is there, you're going to have a person who family of origin puts a lot of weight on them. These are people that are going to be weighed down by other people's responsibilities. These are people that are going to take on adults' responsibilities at a young age and that are going to do a good job at it. And in doing so, they're going to realize that they have a lot more mental, emotional, physical, and aptitude and fortitude than they realized about themselves because they are being put in situations where they have to shine, and when they end up shining really brightly in those situations that they didn't deserve, they really come to know themselves in a deep spiritual way. Leo in 12th house is strong, but a lot of times they don't know they're strong until these situations force them to really unearth that strength from themselves. A lot of times they are too shy to display that power. Even though inside they're sitting on their throne, outside they hide that. Leo in 12th house is also going to be artistic, very dramatic, but oftentimes they're not even aware of how dramatic they are. They can also be deeply spiritual people who, again, may feel disconnected from the spirit world. When you think about karmic energy that we've carried from previous lives, it kind of shows us what the theme has been in previous lives. So oftentimes Leo in 12th house are people that have been famous in previous lives. So in this life, God is asking them to find that strength and that inner validation from inside. God is asking them to spend a lot of alone time and to let their emotional world guide their steps in this life. A lot of them tend to have a lot of anxiety, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities because they're afraid that they're going to not be as great, they're not going to be recognized, they're not going to be, they're going to be left behind, they're not going to be able to keep up with others. Because of that, they generally oftentimes really struggle with low self-esteem, A lot of them struggle with confidence. A lot of them struggle with like seeking outside validation as opposed to already knowing that they're great, which is what a Leo sun is here to learn. But a Leo moon truly knows that, you know? So a lot of times these Leo qualities that make Leo who they are going to be internal battles that these people have. If a person is working this energy in the positive, they're going to be somebody that really values their alone time. They're going to be somebody that has a very deep spiritual world, who has deep spiritual practices that they're keeping up with. Because remember, Leo is a fixed sign. So a person like that is working that in the negative is going to have a heavy routine around their spirituality so they can stay grounded. Because this person is here to really learn about the gifts that you get from being by yourself. Because in this life, it's not about them being the star as it is about them knowing that they have the power to move every obstacle out of their way without necessarily being seen. So these people are here to work in the shadows. These people are here to have jobs where they're not being seen, where they're hidden from the public. These people are here to use that Leo energy in the shadows. Because remember, the 12th house is about the darkness. So if you have a Leo 12th house person that's like trying to be seen, that's trying to be famous, that's trying to be popular, that person is definitely not living in their energy, because this is somebody that is still looking for other people to clap for them. In their positive energy, Leo in 12th house is not living their lives for other people's approval. They're not basically forsaking their lives for the sake of helping other people. When they're working this in the positive, they're wise because they spend a lot of time alone. They're very familiar with their inner workings. They're aware of their arrogance and their ego, and they're actively working to manage themselves, to manage their ego so that they can effectively heal their low self-esteem. Unfortunately, when Leo's in that 12th house, there's a lot of low self-esteem, low value attitudes about the self. And there's a lot of need to be recognized outwardly because inside we don't feel like enough. So Leo in 12th house is really about going inside and uprooting the things about you that you were told were not good enough, and healing those things so that you can know that you're good enough without having to prove it. At their best, they're spiritual, they have a growth mindset, they are deeply connected with other spiritual people, their lives are about their inner world, and they're very committed to continue to develop their inner world to come into spiritual alignment. Leo in 12th house is very concerned about their spiritual well-being and making sure that their morals, their ethics, and their values are aligned with their true selves. They are sensitive, they're empathetic, they are confident without being boastful or egotistical, and more importantly, they are aware of their tendency to be boastful and egotistical, so they actively manage it because they recognize that that is actually a personality flaw that they have. When a person is working their Leo in 12th house in a positive way, they're going to get a lot of attention from people, not because they're trying to get attention, but because people recognize their inner strength. People come to them for advice because people see them as being very wise. It's important for those people to learn how to be humble and to not be egotistical, because it's really the only time that people are going to feel comfortable forging relationships with them. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they're going to suffer from a lot of loneliness because they're not taking the time to do their inner work. So their personality is coming across very abrasive to others in a way that is not very inviting. And unfortunately, the problem with being isolated at any Leo placements is that it creates a lot of, depression. So the low self-esteem basically feeds onto itself. You know what I mean? So it's really important that these people make connections with others, and those connections are only going to be fruitful if these people are aware of the games that they play to get attention, the games that they play to get validation, and the games that they play to basically seek self-esteem from the outside. So once they commit themselves to seeking self-esteem from themselves from the inside, they're going to be naturally strong, naturally compassionate. They're going to understand that all of us are one. We're all struggling, just trying to make it. And they're actually going to be a light for people during their darkest times. So that is Leo in 12th house. Do you have this placement? Do you relate to anything that I just described? Let me know what you think.